All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, fishing accomplices, good morning and welcome back to Fishing. So it is November 23rd, 2024, and we are getting into those final days of saltwater fishing for me. Most likely, not necessarily. I might have a few tricks up my sleeve to keep this thing going until mid-December, but that's about the best we can hope for, is about another month. And again, that's if everything lines up just right. For all I know, this might be my last session. It might not even be worth making a video, but if you're watching this, then something half decent is about to happen. So yeah, a little context. I'm not fishing terribly far from where I was in the last video, and I apologize for that. If I had things my way, I would be moving a bit further away from this, fishing somewhere different, but the weather is not good at all this weekend, to put simply. We're gonna have some very strong northwest winds both days of the weekend, and those are the only 2 days I have the option for. Next week is Thanksgiving, so maybe you'll have a little more flexibility, I don't know. But I chose this spot because, as it has been in the past, it's a bit more sheltered here, so I'm hoping I could sneak out a couple or a few hours of fishing. We're fishing for blackfish. There could be striped bass around, and again, same point as before. I'd be willing to chase after them and look for them or drive further from home, but not with this forecast. So we are not going terribly far from launch at all. So if things do get very bad, it won't be too much of an ordeal to get back inshore quickly and safely. Nothing I haven't handled before, but as you can tell, name of the game, stay warm, stay dry. So we got our dry suit, we got layers on, and we're going to make our way out to where I think there could be some fish. Fish finder's warming up right now. It looks like we got 53, 54 degree water temp. So if we can fish, we're going to catch fish. Make no mistake. I don't know if they're going to be good fish. I don't know if the weather is going to allow us to do much fishing, but that is what I am hoping to show you. And thank you for staying tuned, because it's time to get some fishing accomplished. Okay, well, we bought a lot of crabs, and some of them aren't looking super hot like this guy, but it is what it is. We're getting towards the end of the season, so quality is not assured, but it's also not easy to find crabs by me. Some of the places my connects are closed now, so at least some of these are on the larger side, and this one's dead. This one I'm just going to cut up as is because he's big, and I do like bigger crabs from time to time, but let's just see if we can get a feeding frenzy started as fast as we can. Okay, let's see what we can get started right away. That might be all we can really do here. Got a few dead crabs chummed up. We got some moving tide, but I'm going to try with a 1/2 ounce jig and see how well we hold. If it doesn't work, we're going to up to a 3/4. Fishing a J&C jig. I'm reading surface temps of 57 right now. Doesn't mean it's 57 down there though, that's for sure. Yeah, so this turned out to be a pretty tough day to start. It was a really slow bite, and options were limited in terms of where I could actually fish because of the wind, but right from the beginning I was marking fish and I was getting a few little taps, and while originally the fish I was getting were small, a lot of small bites, and very slow and steady, it did start to pick up, and that just shows how important it is to build the bite, particularly this time of year, you know, as long as you find the right spot. And this spot I had a lot of confidence in because of past experience. That and just, you know, I knew it was the right kind of structure here, and I knew that if I could just keep getting bait down there, there was plenty of other structure I could pull from to get fish biting. And as you'll notice as this video goes on, there's a lot of small fish to start, and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, let's watch how it goes. The other thing I'll note is, while I did start with the 1/2 ounce, I did briefly switch over to 1 ounce. And, you know, while I was getting the bites, they just would not pick that 1 ounce up, or 3/4 ounce. I'm not sure which it was, but there was quite a bit of current. But because it was so shallow, even though I wasn't holding well with the 1/2 ounce, that was really the way to go, because they would pick up the 1/2 ounce, but they wouldn't pick up the 3/4, the 1 ounce in this particular day. Maybe they're just a bit finicky to start. There we go. I don't know how that happened, but First fish, foul hooked. It's life down there. I'm a little bit off of the structure, but last week this was good enough to get on them. If we don't get much of a better bite though, we will reposition. Give it at least one more proper shot. You do better than that. Another small short. Tried back in the half ounce. Getting a lot of bites, but not a lot of pickups, so I don't know if these fish are being finicky. I do find that this time of year, building the bite can be a bit more important, especially shallow. And we are definitely not deep right now. Better. It's quite a bit better. It was just inside that fish's mouth. Alright, I can feel that wind picking up. See just how snotty it gets, but in the meantime, we got a bunch of crabs cut up, and there's definitely a bite here, so let's milk it for whatever we can. Close to keeper. It's a keeper. Today I'm not going to be picky. That's definitely 17. That is definitely a keeper, so we're keeping them today. At any moment we can get blown out of the water, so if it's 16, it's coming home. It's like 16 on the money. If I push them, he starts shrinking. It's like a tiny bit over 16 she is, so I'm gonna keep it this time just because I don't know how much time I have left. So this one can come home with us. Okay, just a hair over 16, which today we're not going to be out as long as we have from our previous sessions, so we're not going to be picky. It's clearly over 16, we're keeping them for our limit. The fish are definitely getting fired up down there, so let's even get a bigger one. That's another nice one. Yeah, that's another keeper. Very close to it. We're not going to waste any time today. It's very close. They all might actually be a little bit short. That's 15 and a half. Very chunky though. This bite is definitely on right now, so we're gonna give it everything we got until we can't fish here anymore, which, knock on wood, we'll be able to fish it the entire session. I'm not holding my breath with this forecast. Ooh, another nice one. It's funny how the smaller ones were there first and these better ones showed up. Another nice female. probably also 15 and a half. It might be actually, I don't know, it looks a little bigger. Very close. Let's measure this way. It's like so close to 16, but not quite. Not New York legal. Oh, yep. That's a good one. That's a good fish. That's a good fish. Oh, yeah. That's more like it. That's more like it. What did I tell you, folks? What did I tell you? That's a nice one. But very nice. Not a big, a huge one, but very nice. See what we're working with. 17. Absolutely. Nice chunky 17 too here. Enjoy that grab. That's it. That's number 3. Almost certainly. Yeah. That's a male. Heck yeah. Quite actually. 15 and 3/4. Did I do that right? Yeah. Very close. A little shy. Very nice short. That's good. Whoa! Jeez. Whoa! Oh my gosh. This is a good fish. This is a big, big fish. This might be one of my best of the season. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yo. That's like an 8 or 9 pounder right there. Oh my gosh. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's at least 7 or 8 pounds right there. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, it's not even that long, it's just so fat. Oh my gosh. Oh. gosh. It's only 20.5 inches, but this thing is so fat. Oh my gosh. Let's get a quick weight. This one's like 8 pounds. Or almost, yeah, this thing's like almost 8, yeah, I'm seeing 8 pounds of this thing. It's not even that long, it's just so fat. Oh my gosh. I gotta let this one go. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're delicious, but you made my day, so you get to live to see another one. Oh man, but yeah, it is just unreal. So yeah. Alright, dead low tide, like 15 feet of water. Late November, last third, we get an 8-pounder. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see if we can get another nice one. So similar to the last video, the water was pretty clear, so I decided to get some underwater footage. This time I decided to use my actual main GoPro because I was having some battery issues with my session. I didn't fully charge, so I got the third person going at the same time as the underwater, and some of it didn't turn out half bad, so let's check it out. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice as soon as this thing hits the bottom is there are just tons and tons of fish, and most of them are on the smaller side, but every so often you'll see something on the larger side move into the frame. This is one of those days where, had it been nicer, I might have moved off this spot sooner, but as you can see, there are just tons of fish, and they are very active, very frenzied up, and they are just swarming the camera and the bait as this video is being made. And even after the crab disappears sometimes, you'll just see that the fish will just kind of linger, like they're waiting for what's next. So multiple times you'll see me kind of do a recut where I have to put more bait on, or I'll lift it up just to make sure that, there is still bait on the hook. But again, these fish are, this bite is thoroughly built. It's all these fish are here, and even if there aren't any larger fish on the screen right now, it doesn't mean that other ones can't show up. But the majority of these fish are on the smaller side. You'll see me pull up a few of them from time to time. Yeah, so one other thing to really point out is just how good the structure is at this spot. Not on this day, but in the next part of the video, I'll do another couple underwater scenes, or at least one or two. And those were spots where there were a few fish hanging out, but nothing like this. And even after trying to build a bite, it was just unsuccessful. And I think one of the keys here is just how much structure and how many different types of structure are piled on top of one another. You've got giant boulders, you've got a lot of smaller boulders, and they're all very tightly packed. So even if, I dropped on a spot where there weren't a lot of fish initially, I think, this spot, once you do get a bite going, there's so many other structures nearby and so many other, potential fish that they all kind of gravitate towards this one spot and they kind of funnel in. So again, finding the right structure can make all the difference. And as you can see here, even though I wasn't really trying to catch them every so often, I couldn't help but get some of these fish on the line. Yeah, so from here in the underwater footage, I'll just let it kind of play out. I just find it interesting to watch these fish feed and just how inquisitive they are when something gets to the bottom. It's like the camera doesn't even faze them. They're just there to get the buffet, and that's that. So just, yeah, take it in. Same exact fish, a little smaller. Alright, so I almost forgot, folks. This is a good day of fishing, and I just got so wrapped up into it, I almost forgot we want to do a seltzer review. And this I don't think is quite a seltzer, but it will be reviewed anyways. This is Swoon Peach Tea. It's got very few calories, so I don't think it should be too sweet, but you never know nowadays. Yeah, so it's sweet. It's quite sweet. And there's no bubbles, which I don't love. If it's this sweet, there's no calories, or 5 calories. Yeah, there's stevia in it, so I'm not a huge fan of stevia in drinks, but I guess this is alright. I'm going just flat 7 with this, but the fishing is well above a 7, so enough talk. Thanks for checking it out this far. Let's see if we get a few more fish, and hopefully one more for the stringer before we head out. Of course, camera died for that one. But I just measured it off camera, and I'll do it again, though you can't even see the numbers. It's almost 17 inches, so that's a good place to end, at least in terms of keeping fish. I'm gonna let this thing bleed out a little bit, fish a few more crabs, and then probably call it a day, because it's getting pretty brisk out here. Alright, this will probably be the last round of crabs I fish. Got my limit capped. I'm just fishing for fun now, but I figured let that fish bleed out a little bit before we throw them in the bag and such. So let's see what we can do. Usually when we find one big one, or bigger one, I've been finding a few others. So let's see if that fish brought any bigger ones with it. I'm cold and I got what I came for, so question is whether I'll come back tomorrow. Alright, we gotta get out of here. Fish here all day. But you know what? There's still crab in there. We'll drop back down. It's a sign. That's a nice fish to go out on. Could keep going, but you know what? We gotta get out of here. It is just right now. Alright, we're gonna shoot the outro right here, right now, before I unanchor, because it is just absolutely disgusting out. But you know what? We had a good day. I could have just easily stayed home and slept in, but as I like to think, these days are numbered. We don't have a lot of them left, so I'm happy I made it happen. And we're going home with some fish to stock up the freezer, so we'll be eating plenty of fish this winter. Got a few more sessions left in me. It's just a question of whether the weather will permit it. I potentially could go tomorrow. I don't know if I want to come back here, but we'll see what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling. So it is the day after the last day I shot a video, most likely, November 24th, 2024, and we are back at it. It is, again, very windy out, very brisk, but a little bit warmer than yesterday. After yesterday's session, I told myself there was no way I was getting back in the kayak today. But then, after having a few hours to warm and thaw out and think it over, I was like, well, not too many of these days left where I can actually get out in the kayak and pretty much expect to catch fish. So after sleeping on it, I decided this is what we're going to do today. And unfortunately, it's pretty close to where I was yesterday, though I'm going to challenge myself to fish some different spots and leave that other spot alone. Yeah, so as I said, the conditions were very tough on this particular day, almost identical to the day before. Main difference, though, was I decided I wasn't going to fish the same spots because I didn't have it in me to just get battered around by the wind. So tried to stay sheltered, stay close to shore, and it was definitely tough. And I apologize for some of the wind noise you're going to hear, but I decided to bounce around and, again, just try and work areas where it was a little bit deeper but sheltered from the wind. So let's check it out. Okay, first anchor attempt. It's a spot that first criteria met. It's quite sheltered, so we're going to try and hide from that wind. The spot I tried a few times earlier in the season did okay. Let's see how we do now. I'm a little bit off of it, but again, that was like a month ago, and I'm hoping now these fish are a bit more worked up. Now things have cooled down, and you know, I can get a real solid bite put together. So we're just going to cut up a few crabs, get those legs down, and hopefully pull some nice fish out of here. But if not, we're not going to stay too long here. We'll move to the next spot. Yeah, so as I said, the conditions were very tough on this particular day, almost identical to the day before. Main difference, though, was I decided I wasn't going to fish the same spots because I didn't have it in me to just get battered around by the wind. So tried to stay sheltered, stay close to shore, and it was definitely tough. And I apologize for some of the wind noise you're going to hear, but I decided to bounce around and, again, just try and work areas where it was a little bit deeper but sheltered from the wind. So let's check it out. So this spot has some very heavy external structure nearby, but as you'll notice, the bottom is very silty, and it looks like there's some small shrimp there as well. But, you know, like I said, I did get some taps, but if you compare this to the footage from the day before and some of the earlier footage, it doesn't even compare. If you do look closely in a moment, you will notice some blackfish that will swim in a frame, but they are on the smaller side. And again, they're not very curious about, you know, what I'm throwing, which is curious because, again, I wouldn't expect a swarm, but they're just, you know, they can care less about that crab. But yeah, this bottom, you know, you can't see it. It's probably right behind the camera or just out of range. There's some serious solid structure. It's probably just in the distance from here, but it's very vertical. It's not like there's any, you know, piles of boulders. It's just that vertical, huge structure that just drops off to this muckier, sandy, shelly stuff. And, you know, while this was fine in October, it doesn't seem to really be doing the trick for these fish now that things have cooled off and we're in the late season. So interesting to note. So after fishing that spot, I decided to bounce around a little faster. I know drifting isn't ideal, but I didn't want to get hung up on any one spot or potentially risk losing the anchor. So I bounced around a few spots, both anchoring and doing some drifts, dropping bait. And the best I can get was, you know, a few little taps here and there until eventually I did pull up in the spot that kind of made the day. So we'll jump to that one and spare you some of the other less fortunate spots. Okay. New piece again. I don't know that I've ever anchored up over here, but a lot of good stuff, so no reason why there can't be fish here. Don't know if there will be though. That's a bite. Alright, that's more encouraging. We actually got some pretty quick bites. Little bites. Oh, we gotta start somewhere. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What a first fish. Oh my gosh, what a first fish. Is it even a TOG or is it a bass? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh man. Wow. I don't even believe that. It's just like unbelievable. Yeah, like the one yesterday, not very long, just very, very thick. God dang. Wow. Let's get out of the sun. We've been keeping this fish in the net. I'm not planning on keeping it. It almost got hooked, but fortunately it didn't quite get all the way down there. All right, let's see. First ruler. This fish has got to be at least 7 pounds. this one's like 21 and a half. I can barely make it out, but longer than the one yesterday. The question is it heavier? So I don't know if it's quite as fat. All right. It is heavier. Well, it's about 8 pounds, yeah. 21.5-inch female. Put her back. Thank you for saving the day. See you later, girl. Man. Well, that was pretty incredible, and I guess we got to stay here for a little bit longer, but we're going to chop up a few crabs and see if, you know, if that fish is here, there's every bit of potential that there could be a bunch of big fish, and we didn't even work for it that hard, so I'm just going to cut up a bunch of crab pieces, see if we can get a frenzy going before we go. So I'm not going to stay out too long. It's probably just going to be a continuation of yesterday's video, but even so, let's see if we can get a solid finish. All right, if that was the only fish we catch today, then it was worth it, but I have a feeling there's more fish there. They just need to be woken up, so back down we go. Because I was getting little bites before that guy jumped on. I'm wondering if he was freaking out all the other fish. We will find out, hopefully. Nothing compared to that last one, obviously, but not bad. It's like another keeper fish. Nice. That's like the size I'd want to keep too. It's like a perfect eater size if it's 16 and a half, 17. Let's keep her. Get on it. Get that meat. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. 16-incher, 16 and a half thereabouts, and a male. Perfect. Let's see what else is down there. Fire these fish up. So after getting those two fish and things slowing down, I decided to drop the camera down just to get a feel of what was going on here. And it's interesting. This spot, you know, it pushes up against some very, very big, solid vertical structure. I do think I'm a little bit off of it, but it's weird because if I get any closer, it's just going to shoot straight up and then basically be like 6 feet below the kayak at some point. So I wanted to be on the edge of it, but not super close to it, just because I didn't want to be dropping off on top of it. And again, it's a matter of timing, and the wind wasn't making anchoring any simpler. But you will notice every so often you will see a blackfish swim in the frame. But again, unlike yesterday's part of the video, this structure is nowhere near as tightly packed. It's more just like, you know, maybe earlier in the season, more fish would hang out here or be willing to push off of that main structure, but now it's definitely much more desolate. And again, the blackfish you do see from time to time, they're just kind of taking a peek at it, but they're just kind of really in an off mood. So I really lucked out to find those two larger fish. And again, that was all I really got. So I'll just enjoy the rest of this footage. Alright, so I don't know if this is going to be a combo of yesterday and today, or if this is its own separate thing, but yeah, what a windy weekend, but we definitely, you know, rose to the occasion, considering that I could have just as easily sat this whole thing out. So two of my best TOG for the season on two of the nastiest days. I'm certainly happy with it. Happy that I was able to to make myself put those two back to two breeding females. It's probably the best. So yeah, not terribly deep either. I mean, certainly if I could have went deeper, I would have. I think there'd be a lot more life, but you know, I just don't want to stray too far from shore. You know, if that wind does jack up and put myself into the world of problems. So yeah, still some in the shallows, though. I don't expect them to be there too much longer, but you never know. I was getting them fairly shallow up until like December last year, so we'll see if we can keep on them. I don't know if I have any more left in me for this. I do want to maybe see if I can get on some striped bass before that dwindles, but we'll see where we're at. So thank you as always for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye from Fishin.